this is a quick revision class. So like I said, today we would have a little revision and a little CSS class. Don't worry, we'll stay a little longer on CSS, maybe like 5 classes on CSS. Then we'll do some games to make it fun. So let's quickly do this. So this was where we stopped yesterday. Heading and paragraph majorly. Heading 1, 2, 3. Remember, H1 stands for heading, right? The H here stands for heading. So we have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, so heading 6. Then paragraph, a normal paragraph, right? Alright, so for today's revision, let's just quickly remember. Yes, let's just continue under here, right? So if I want, remember this, guys, remember this. So I'll click, let's say I'm writing a paragraph, and then I'm going ahead saying you can visit us on our web sites at www.makesense.com.ng, right? It is required that for something like this, yeah, you anchor this link. I always recommend using a blank anchor, right? So that you don't take people out of your website, all for the sake of why, I don't know, right? So we will not have something like this. You can visit our website at www. blah 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 blah. And mind you, yeah, so this is quickly some of the things I want us to pay attention to, right? So if you want to build a website, there are a few structures, but before we get to that structure, I'll quickly just do this. Everything we have here, so I can have what's it called? So I can have my CSS. Let's do this. I think we can even go ahead and do on page CSS. Yes, we can even attempt that. Oh, sweet. So let's do something like font size 200 pixels. Let's see. So guys, can go ahead and do inline styling. This is called inline styling, right? Where both your style and your HTML are on the same place. You can now go ahead and do this color. Let's use the color of blue, right? So let's remove that underline on this one. What's it called again? Tag decoration.
One of those names that actually doesn't match. Don't worry, guys. Like I said, all these things with time and use, you would remember them, right? So I really would not mind like us to do the whole. I don't understand. I don't understand right now. No, don't do that. Calm down. We don't really done anything so dramatic. So I think um I wouldn't call this the FOMO, but I won't gaslight how we feel by calling it FOMO or unnecessary exaggeration of anticipation versus what we already have. But I'll ask for us to be a little patient, right? So for today, let's just play around this. Yeah, let's play around this and span. Let's create something very, very interesting. I want to clear all of this, but I'm tempted to, instead of clearing this, let me just create a new document. Class next.html. Then do this. Another advantage of what I'm asking us to install. I'm asking us to install this young bros called class next. Alright. And then I will do this CSS in a new folder, and then let me just use a new file, style CSS, right? And then inside this document, remember I said if you want to link one document to another, we'll do that inside the head, and we use link, right? We use link style sheet CSS automatically links our CSS. Let's test it. Let's do a I like doing this default, so we remove margin 0, every extra configuration from the browser, right? I like to do this just to remove every default browser configuration. Exactly. And then leave text decoration automatically stop to none. Right, so let's now try this BODY and do this. Right, so I'm targeting the body, guys. Remember, this is the body, everything we see on the browser. I'm going to give it a background color of gray. Let's try a kind of gray. Right, let's try this gray here, this gray that looks so. Let's do, yes, F4. Good, let's try this. Do you notice? Okay, see, let's just do E4, E5, A4. Let's just do this first, so you see it works, right? This works, right, guys? All right. Oh, you can get feedback. All right, so now we can do some more what's it called, we can do some more manipulation. Anything we have in our body, we can manipulate now in CSS. So let's just do some div manipulation. Div, and then div is always the outer part covering, right? So it's like a bread, nylon of bread. The full nylon is called the div, right? And then you now have the slices of the bread inside. These are now every individual. These are every individual. What's it called? Slice of bread inside, right? So we say div, and then this div we can use. This can stand as a normal div. It can be a section. This can be an article. Remember, guys, depending on the use case, right? Good. But if it's a section, you have other divs inside. A section is bigger than div, right? But generally, it depends on how you want to do it. I've seen people do div or then sections, which doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead and do divs tonight. Then we'll do paragraph. No, let's do h1 since we're already taking up h. Let's just do a review. Playground. Let's do a paragraph, and then this section. Right, so if I refresh this page, all you will see is this. Right, but I cannot do something like this. Body, I want everything display to be flex, right? I want the display to be flex, and I want everything here to be justified content to the center, and I want it to align them items also to the center. That means make it middle of the page. Justify center brings it vertically to the center. Align center bring it horizontal. Sorry, justify center bring it horizontally to the center. Let's do it one by one. Let's do it one by one so it doesn't. Well, align center brings it vertically to the center. Oh, right. So it's not moving anywhere because there is no height. So let's do height of 100%. Now if we do this, all right. Okay. Yep. Don't worry, guys. It happens all the time. So we can do this. That would be a trick method. I don't want to do any bypass today. If it's not it, it is not it. Justify count items center. Alright, let's just go ahead and name this class, this section here. Let's call this class. Let's give it a class of playground. This is where our playground is. So let's remove this from all of this, right? But in weight of 100% also. Thank you. This can work. Column. Good. Now we have given our we've given our playground a class name of playground, right? So to communicate with this playground we have, we got to use the class name to identify it, right? So to do that, we would have to target this playground. And to target it, we come to CSS and use the dots or period, and I'll call. So this is called coily braces. Coily braces. or curly brackets, right? Good. So, unlike our HTML, where what you have on HTML appear on the documents that on the browser, what you have on CSS doesn't appear. Rather, it affects what is appearing on the HTML, right? Like I said, HTML is the structure, the skeleton, while CSS gives beauty and style. You add style to the existing HTML document. So we use period. Let's call playground. Let's call playground. And let's check if we are calling it correctly. Okay, we'll copy this just to be on the safe side and paste it. Right? If you are ever calling a style and it's not working, know that's background color of black. So yes, this is my playground, giving a black background color. Font, text, let's see, text align, text decoration. So we have a color of white. So guys, see what's happening? I'm spelling my white as wild. Right? So we can now do this with 100%. Okay, let's even do this 90%. Let's do something 90%. Okay, good, good, good. Right, so I do 90 view height. It's called view height, right? Whatever screen you are using to take 90% of the screen size height. If I did VW here, to take the view width. So VW is the same thing with percentage, similar calculations, but it's just saying there are a few differences. In practice, there's a few differences. It's not an absolute value, right? So we're saying, okay, use view width instead of percentage. Just sometimes you get some better reaction using view width, better behavior rather. So while we've done this, I can come here and do something like, let's try that same thing again. Just write content center. Justify item center. So since this is the main body, like I said, right, this is the bread nylon. Let's call this the full why am I quick to type twice? I'll call this slices of bread. Right? We can choose to have space by default, so we'll do something called padding. This is to give space. Mind you, this is the blue one and this is the black one. So let's do this. um 10 pixels. So we're doing padding text 10 pixels. Remember here we did padding 0 because we didn't want any default browser padding. That's why you're seeing that this body starts from the edge. If I do this, you see that by default by default there is a browser default. So this my black is not starting from the page and the edge of the page. That's just browser default. And because of this, it will affect, it differs. This with padding, default padding, differ browser to browser, right? So it will affect your calculations. That's why I always default it to 0 here. And when I refresh it 0, right? I can now give it my padding 10 here. And voila, right? Good. See, so if I had done this, right? See, I'm doing 10, but I'm getting a padding bigger than 10. You get, so it will affect your calculations. We like to see pixel perfect design. So I know you might, before you start saying, the space no really matter now, but we like to give pixel perfect design. So if you notice, the padding we are given is within the item, right? We're saying within this item. Let me try to explain this. Okay, let's do this with HTML. Let's try this. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try something. Joy is come. Hallelujah. Let's now do this, please. Let's just do a class. Alright, so we'll come here and do another div to section these items differently. Just for formatting, I'll do this. So what can I say? Here's what I want to explain. Padding. So here's what I'm going to do, right? Here's what I'm going to do. Um, I'm going to simply use this as an example. Notice how all these things are clocked together. So let's use padding and margin to space this out and see what we get. Right? So padding here. On playground, I'll give you padding of 50 pixels. Right? So now, remember I said padding is for within, right? So when we give a padding of 50 pixels, we expect that um these items move away from the end top, because we are not specifying what side of the padding, right? That means padding top. So we can do this naturally. I'll show you from here. So let's refresh. You see it gives 50 padding, 15 pixels from the side, from the left top, and from the left. There's also a 50 pixel from the bottom also, right? So let's do this. Let's inspect to see what we just did here. See, padding 50 pixel. See what it did. It grayed out this column around here. Mind you, it is inside this black place, right? See, inside. It is not like it is. See, when we did, if I do a margin now, margin, it does not make sense using a margin right now. So I'll just show you something, right? If I over on the padding, see where the padding is. Can you see that? Inside here, this gray section inside, the green now or whatever it is. But when I do a margin, notice it does it outside the orange, outside. All right. So margin controls the space from outside, while padding controls from inside, right? So now, quick classwork. I want to give space between playground and this section here and the lines. I want to give space between playground and this. What do I do? A quick pause, and then so this will be remember it's our playground. We have to come, since we are done targeting the parents playground, we target the parents playground. We can now do this. Remember, to target playground we use text. So now I'll do this h1 curly braces, because I want to target this h1 alone. I'll do h1 and I'll do margin. Now the next item I want to space it from is at the bottom of it, so I'll do margin bottom, margin bottom. Right, I go for 20 pixels, guys. You see, it has given this, moved this 20 pixels away from this. Do you understand? A simpler way to just do it would have been target this section and give it. Let's do that way instead. Now this is where it gets tricky, guys. Pay attention. We have ordinary p tag here in the place section, right? And we have p tags here also in this note section. So right now I just did here and said h1, but if I have any other h1 inside here, it will apply this style to it. If I have any other h1, so if I had an h1 here saying h1, notice automatically inherits this 20 pixels margin below it, right? But let me do this. Class topic title, right? And come here and say, instead of saying h1, I do title dot title, right? If I refresh, notice the playground, this 20 pixels bond stays only with the playground, because that's what has the class name of. Let me just split this thing together. No, let me not, because of who will be watching on this from the phone. Do you understand what's going on here? So because I have identified this very one, I have given it class name, I can target it directly. So it's like saying I come into a class and say John, and then 5 people stand up. That's what happened here with HTML. If I say H1, everybody bearing H1 stands up. But I go beyond saying H1 and call their middle names, right? So I'm giving them a middle name. So I can as well do H1 this. If I do that, I can do this, right? I'm be like, hey, John Bako or John like this, and I'm calling a specific John, right? And I can as well just call the middle name Bako, and Bako stands alone, right? So I can now go ahead and do something like frame. Right? Can you see that, guys? Let me just make this 10. Right? We can see that, right? But like I said, I want to make this space between this and the line so I can choose another route. Where am I? This section here. So we know why I'm giving it a class name, right? Copying it, saving it, then come over here and do this subtitle. See, but because I'm doing margin bottom, it does not work. So I just do margin 20 and then 0. See what happens. I did, remember guys, I did margin the first time. I did margin 20, right? Margin bottom 20, right? Here I did just margin, or just margin here, right? And then when I told you I was going to show you something good. Where was it? Margin. Alright, playground, margin. So see, notice because I did not specify anything, I just said margin, right? See what happens. It takes margin top, is becoming too much. It makes it a margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left. Those are the 4 cardinals, right? And give everything 10. But see here, I just did margin 20 and 0. So this is now top, bottom, left, right. Alright, I can go ahead and do this. Top. Let's see how I arrange them again. Margin, top, right, bottom, left, clockwise, right? So I can do margin top 20 pixel. Let's watch this, guys. Pay attention to this. So margin top 20 pixels, margin right 0 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels, and margin left 0 pixels. If I do this, see where it came from, guys. I still have the same thing, right? So if I come and select this now, by default you notice how it is having the orange on top and below. Do you understand what's happening here, right? So instead of doing all this for drama, I chose to do this instead, right? Good. All right, so let's now do a notes for, let's target our notes, right? And give padding under the notes section, and then do padding of 100 pixels. And once I refresh, I see my notes all the way here, but I want my frame to be a little further, so I'll do yes. So now I have
padding and margin to give them some part of. So I'll not choose to use span tags. Say here. So I can now do this. Notes dot notes span. Now remember, like I said, right, I'm calling everybody called span in that class because I want to take all of them together. I'll do a font size of 20 pixels, and I'll do a font weight of 700 pixels. So I'm trying to make this seem like H something. Now it has weight and size that makes it want to look like our H tags, right? Good. So this is where we would stop for today. I'll allow you play around with this. Let me give this let me go a little further and say margin bottom of 10 pixels. Let's do 10 and then refresh. What did we do wrongly? This is the span here, this is the span. Oh, so we're trying to give the span the style of the 10 pixels, and because they are all inside this, that's why it's not taking any action for me. But notes, then p tag, right. So if I don't do margin bottom, let's do a bottom of 10 pixels. You see, span is affecting just this thing in line, in place. It is still inside. So if I do color of this, yes, makes sense, you see. But then our span is just that particular word. It is on, just that particular word it is on. Guys, does this make sense at all? Right? Good. I'll stop the class here. Interact with this. We'll meet on Wednesday. Stay safe, guys. Stay chilled. Stay inquisitive. Experiment as much as you can, and yeah, drop your questions on the. I want to see a lot of questions on the chat and comment on the WhatsApp comment section or WhatsApp chat section. All right, guys. Have a nice, lovely day.